I got 2 games here. These are both games that Dean has mentioned that he really wants. We've got, actually in this order, Rogue Leader, it's Rogue Squadron 2 and Rogue Squadron 3, 2 major Star Wars games for the GameCube. These are exclusive to the GameCube. You can't play them on anything else. And these are great. This one came out when the GameCube first launched. This game came out in 2001. Okay? This thing's super old, but if you pop it in today, right now, and put it on the screen, it still looks really good. And it doesn't have the thing on the back of it saying that it uses progressive scan, but I still say this thing looks great. All kinds of awesome action where you got the real music, things are coming at you, you're flying, there's great special effects. Highly, highly recommend this one. This one, Rogue Squadron 3, is also very good. It's the weaker of the 2 as far as the space flight, because there's also some missions where you get out and walk around and shoot. Those aren't the best. But one thing to note on here that's really, really cool is there's a special feature on here. It says on the back, 2-player co-op version of this game is included on this one. So if you got a buddy and you want to do some local co-op Star Wars, you can play through this game on this one in co-op with somebody else. And then there's also, let me see if it's for real. I forget which one it is. But yeah, see, look at this. This is how we used to roll back in the 90s and the 2000s, man. We didn't just look it up on our phones. Look what I got here. I printed this off of like GameFAQs or something. These are the codes that you can put in to unlock special things. And this game, Rogue Squadron 3, the best part about it, as far as unlocks go, is the original Star Wars Arcade. You know, the game that has all those little vector graphics that was from the 80s. That game's included on here if you unlock it. You also have Empire Strikes Back game, and let me see, I think there's a third one. Might be a Jedi one with Yoda, but having those arcade games in here, even if it's just the 2, I don't know for sure, but arcade games unlockable. The first game is in here as a special feature. You know what they would do with this nowadays? They wouldn't put this in there. They wouldn't put those other things in there. We'd be paying through the nose DLC. Not back in the day on these things. There's no updates needed. You put it in your GameCube, you play it, put in your codes, or play through the game to unlock them normally. Yeah, good stuff. Buy these. All right, moving on through the collection, I've got 3 sports titles here that are very unique. Normally wouldn't get much of a mention on a video like this, but the reason I like them, they're 3 different EA games, okay? First, we've got Fight Night Round 2, which is a decent enough fighting game. We've got SSX on Tour, another snowboarding game, and then NBA Street Volume 3, okay? They're all right, right? Whatever. We got some arcade basketball, we got some snowboarding and a fighting game. But here's why you want to buy them on the GameCube. NBA Street version 3 has the Nintendo All-Stars. You can play as Peach, Mario, and Luigi. If you take a look at that right up there, Peach, Mario, and Luigi, you can play as them in this game. Also, SSX on Tour has Peach, Mario, and Luigi. So you can play a really awesome snowboarding game and snowboard as Mario, Luigi, and Peach. It's so cool. Even has some like Mario sound effects and things like that. And then here's something super cool. Fight Night Round 2. If you unlock it, it includes Super Punch-Out from the Super Nintendo. So you got the Super Nintendo Punch-Out game included on this, and these ones include Mario, Peach, and Luigi as characters. Definitely makes it something I want to pick up on the GameCube, because why not? You add that stuff in there, that's super cool. All right, so moving on, I got a few more things here for you. I'm going to go through these real quick because these are third-party games, which they're good, but they're not the best things in the world. Let's just take a look. There's a Cars game for you. It's a pretty fun little racing game. If you have kids like me and like your little son, like my son, he's almost 4 years old. He loves cars. That's a fun game. These Scooby-Doo games are actually pretty good. I have this one, and there's another one here, Mystery Mayhem. Yeah, two different Scooby-Doo games. If you loved watching the Scooby-Doo cartoons, this has all of the sound effects and even most of the actual villains from the cartoons. Those are really fun to play. Time Splitters 2. A lot of people really like this game for a shooter. I kind of like the controller on the Xbox a little better for shooters and stuff, but on the GameCube, this runs really well. Top Gun, honestly, flea market pickup, not really sure if it's all that great, but I like flying games. It looks cool, and it's Top Gun, so it says on the back, do you feel the need? I don't know, we'll find out. Here we have two really, really good wrestling games. Okay, this was back before we had, WWE 2K anything, and even back before we had SmackDown versus Raw and all of those games. These were on the GameCube, Day of Reckoning and Day of Reckoning 2. It was some really good games because the story mode on these was where it was at. It wasn't just wrestling for, wrestling's sake. It had some pretty good controls, pretty good animations, lots of different wrestlers and stuff. But I played through both of these because I really liked the story and wanted to actually complete the wrestling story that they had in there, which is pretty sweet. Gun, really good game. Picked this up at the flea market. It's a Wild West shooter. It's a little bit more crazy than I expected it to be. When I first put it in, I was like, all right, this is just going to be your run-of-the-mill Wild West shooter. But then you start shooting people and their heads explode and stuff like that. So for $5, awesome. This one, Teen Titans. Only bought this because my kids watch Teen Titans Go all the time and they wanted to try it out. But again, looks really nice. Looks like cartoons. Plays well. NHL Hits 2002. Yeah, man. I played hockey for many years and I was a defender all the time. And this guy here, Scott Stevens, was always my favorite hockey player. And he used to light people up. And he would hit them so hard they would be knocked in the next time zone. So when I saw this, I had to pick it up. I always liked these games by Midway, the Hits game and the NFL Blitz and the baseball game. What was Slugfest? They're just crazy arcade, really, really arcadey fun. Super good stuff. And so you got Scott Stevens on the cover. I'll buy it. Dr. Muto. This one was out on Xbox as well, I believe. Another Midway game. And just another platformer, something real interesting. It's your 90s style platformer, except that it came out in 2002, but it's every bit a 90s style platformer. Gladius. This one's really not too bad. You might want to take a look at this if you like a little bit of strategy and stuff. Let's see what we got on the back here. Yeah, it's kind of an RPG. Set in Roman times. Tough to explain without getting into a lot of details, but it's made by LucasArts. It's another really great LucasArts game that they made back in the 6th generation. Keep an eye out for that. I recommend it. iNinja. See, these, you're noticing a pattern on this pile of games here. They're mostly either for the kids or they're, platformers or just every run-of-the-mill everyday thing, and that's what iNinja is. You're this little ninja guy. You run around. It's another platformer, but has unique elements with the ninja character. Die Hard Vendetta, flea market pickup, hardly played it. I might have turned it on just to make sure it works. It says on the back, America's unluckiest cop is having another very bad day. So you can play through John McClane's Bad Day. Here we have some more kid stuff. Real quick, Curious George. Looks like a cartoon, plays really good. SpongeBob. I actually like SpongeBob. Sorry. So I don't mind playing these with the kids because I think SpongeBob's funny. They made one, SpongeBob the movie, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Yeah. All three of these games are pretty much the same thing. You run around and hit stuff with SpongeBob. You know how it goes. Got a few games here. This is the same game. I have 2 copies because one doesn't work. I got it off of eBay and the guy sold me another one because that one was broke. I just kept the box because I don't know why. Good Ninja Turtles game. And then they also had a second one, Ninja Turtles Battle Nexus and Mutant Nightmare Ninjas 3. These are cool because you can play co-op. Really good to play with your kids. This one only does 2 players, but these both can do 4-player simultaneous co-op, local co-op. The real standout here is, let's see, what do we got here? This one, you can unlock the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. And this one, you can unlock Turtles in Time. And we're not talking about some sort of like remake or whatever. These are the arcade games, like the ROMs of them or whatever, are playable on here. So the arcade version of Turtles 1 and Turtles in Time, that's the real reason to own these and play through them so that you can unlock that cool stuff. All right, coming up, X-Men Legends 2. This is another simultaneous 4-player co-op type of thing with all kinds of your X-Men superheroes. There's been others that are like that. Alien Hominid. This one is very unique. Also on Xbox and some other things. You're this guy. You're a little alien guy who comes down from space and starts shooting up everything. And this is an indie game. This is like one of the first indie games that kind of came out of the indie cycle into the mainstream. So very, very cool art style. Pretty hard too. Then I've got Dragon's Lair 3D, Return to the Lair. It's kind of like the old Dragon's Lair game from back in the arcade days, the games that used to have laser discs in there. Let me see if this one is not the laser disc game. It's just a game similar to it, and don't think that you're going to get the actual arcade laser disc version of that in there. And here we have another one, Metal Arms Glitch in the System. This was one of the first games that I really got hooked on and couldn't stop playing until I got through the whole entire thing. Metal Arms Glitch in the System is very, very good. Highly recommend it. I really enjoyed looking at some stuff back on G4. Remember the old days of G4? They used to do some, I don't know, little interviews or, something like that, talking about the developers. And this guy here, they are called Swingin' Ape Studios. They made this game, and this was like the first game that they came out with. And after watching that show and learning all about the guys that made the game and then playing through it and seeing how much, care and passion, love, all that crap that they had to have in order to produce this game, it just really was one that stood out for me as something that I really wanted to play through. And I recommend this one. Anybody should play that one. That's a good one. All right, so now we come to the final pile. This is the real reason that you came to the party, for the Nintendo exclusives. We already showed a few Nintendo exclusives at the beginning, but let's go through these ones here. Some of them are self-explanatory, and some of them are not. So, first off, I have up here Super Mario Sunshine. This is what's been playing in the background, the little demo version of it. Some people like this game, some people don't, but I love it. I think it's great. It was something that came out after the Nintendo 64, really showed off what the Gamecube can do. This didn't come out until 2002, though, so it took a while before this hit the Gamecube after it launched. But don't miss out. If you get a Gamecube, you really should be playing Super Mario Sunshine. The music's so great, you'll be singing it in your head all day. The colors are so vibrant. It's just such a unique game, and they haven't even really made anything like this after this. They went into Mario Galaxy after this, and Galaxy 2, and we were really kind of waiting for the next Mario game that's like a platformer, 3D open world type of thing. We really aren't getting another one of these until Odyssey comes out on the Switch, and I can't wait for that. But I also hope that they take some of these GameCube games and port them onto the Switch as downloadables. I'll gladly buy this again to have it on the Switch. But if you don't have it on your GameCube, you should. It's a good one. All right. Next up, this pile right here is crazy because it's like every next game is another thing that's something that I would never want to lose, something that I would always want to play again and again. And this is my favorite Zelda game of all time, is Zelda Twilight Princess. This is the one where you get to turn into a dog. Yep. And you go between the light and the dark zone. This is actually the definitive version, even though it was a launch title for the Wii. What they had to do, Link will oftentimes swing his sword with his left hand. He's always done that from the old games all the way up through this one. But when they put this game on the Wii, they took the game and they flipped it. Like they mirror imaged it, right? So that they didn't have to reprogram the whole game, but Link would now be right-handed instead of left-handed because they thought because the game on the Wii uses the motion controls, most people being right-handed would not want to swing with their right hand and the character swings with his left. So it would confuse them, and that's why they did that. But if you want the real version, there it is. This thing got the same treatment that Breath of the Wild got on the Switch. This game was developed, ready to go, ready to be rolled out on the GameCube, but then Nintendo was like, GameCube's not doing so great. We want to save this for the Wii, so let's hold on to it. We'll throw it out on the GameCube, but we'll also put it on the Wii. Same exact thing they did with Breath of the Wild, because that was a Wii U game, and then they pushed it out to the Switch, and that's how that happened. But going on with some Zelda, I did get a hold of this, which is a collectible type thing. It's the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition promotional disc. These are not cheap these days because it has Zelda 1 and 2 from the NES. It has Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask from the N64 on this disc, and it has a demo for the Wind Waker. But really, you're getting this disc because you got all the old games on there. Let me see, while we're talking about Zelda, here is Zelda the Wind Waker. Should have put these in order before I sat down. But yeah, Zelda Wind Waker, they did do the HD version of this on the Wii U. They also did the HD version of the other Zelda on there, but this is a really, really great Zelda game. Not my all-time favorite, just because I like the story in the other one better, but this one's just as good a game, and a lot of people probably think that this one's better. So if you like Zelda games, especially, if you haven't played a Zelda game before, if all of this is kind of new to you, don't miss out on Zelda. Grab some of these, because when you go to conventions and when you meet people that are gamers, people that identify as gamers, a lot of times this game, Zelda, whether it's this actual one or one of the other Zeldas, is the whole reason why they're addicted to playing games and love games as much as they do. So let's move on to the next one. Since I said conventions, when you go to conventions, you're always going to find people playing the Super Smash Bros. Melee. They still play this GameCube game at conventions because most of the people that like to play competitively Smash Brothers, this is the version that they want to play. All right, next up is two games that are so unique, so weird, but so worth it. Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2. They just recently came out with a Pikmin game on the 3DS. Not really kind of like these ones. There was a Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. Hopefully we see another Pikmin game on the Switch, but very hard to explain how you play these games. But the way it works, you landed on a planet and you crashed. You're this little guy, Olimar, right? He's on the back here. And he has to find all the parts to his ship so that he can get back, but you only have so many days before you run out of oxygen and stuff, so there's a time factor involved. You have to go around picking these little guys that are the Pikmin, and the different colored Pikmin do different things, like the red ones don't get affected by fire, the blue ones can go in the water, yellow are electricity. This game brings even more different colors to the mix, and different kind of bosses. You have to manage your group of little Pikmin, and you throw them at the bad guys or use them to dig up items that you have to then use to either make more Pikmin or find the items for your spaceship. It's very hard, very difficult strategy, but action at the same time. You can also get both of these games on the Wii. I think they remade both of these for the Wii, including some pointer support with the remote. That way you don't have to use the controller, but I like it on the GameCube. It's Pikmin. You gotta play Pikmin. Alright, next up I got some stuff that Mario likes to do in his spare time. Mario's extracurricular activities. We've got Mario's Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. Mario likes to play some baseball. Mario Golf. Mario Power Tennis. And Super Mario Strikers. Soccer playing Mario. Every single one of these Mario games for sports, I recommend them even if you're not a big sports fan, because they're just fun action games that you can play. They're meant for anyone to be able to play them, so you can use different settings. Like on the baseball one, you can have them automatically run the bases for you and things like that. Highly recommend playing some Mario sports games because, you know, it's not just about sitting on the couch playing games, kids. You got to go outside and play some sports too, and why not do it with Mario? So let's see, getting down here. Oh man, we're almost to the end. And let's take a look. If you want something weird, and you want something unique and super fun, do yourself a favor and pick up Wario Ware. Wario Ware Mega Party Games. Now you see that title and you're thinking, oh, nah, crap, party games and stuff. Now you can play this single player. It's for 1 to 4 players, and what it is the story is Wario found out that he could make some money selling video games, and so he comes up with the crappiest one, like little tiny, almost like what you would see today as an iOS app. All these different little tiny mini games. There's hundreds of little mini games in here, and they come at you fast. So it'll be like, and it'll pop up and it'll say like, pop the balloon, and then you see a balloon and you have to go pop, and then it'll go and put another one up, and it's like, run to the finish line, and you're like, well, where? And so it's rapid fire. Very hectic, very fun. You're gonna laugh and you're gonna enjoy yourself playing WarioWare. Get that game, it's good. Here we have Animal Crossing. I personally don't get Animal Crossing. I don't have the patience for it, but my daughter wanted to play it and she likes it. This is just sort of a, I don't know, a reality game, if you want to call it that. You just get into this town, and maybe I'm missing the point, but to me, there's not a whole lot of hard goals or things that you have to actually go do. You just sort of run around and do things. You decorate your house. You find furniture. I mean, I don't know. You farm. You get little jobs. A very unique, very, very long, fleshed out game that you can play for hundreds of hours. So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, there you go. Now, the actual polar opposite of Animal Crossing, which is nice and slow and just chills out, is F-Zero GX. If you like racing games and you like to go super, super fast, buy this game. This game is very hard. It's one of the hardest racing games I've ever played. It's so fast, and it does use the progressive scan. I think it does 60 frames a second. You can do 4-player simultaneous local co-op. Man, it's just, you gotta play this thing. This thing will melt your face. It's just like you're driving. So cool, so fast. F-Zero GX. They need to make some more F-Zero games. On the Switch, there's Fast RMX, which is kind of like this, and then on PlayStation there's the Wipeout games, which is kind of like this, but this here's the granddaddy, man. We need another one of these. This thing is so fast and so fun. Love that. Next up, we got another very, very unique GameCube exclusive, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. This game kind of takes a page out of Hideo Kojima's book, because just like in the Metal Gear games, when they try to mess with your head, this game has a sanity meter. That's why it's called Sanity's Requiem. So as you're playing the game, depending on how you do, it'll mess with the graphics. It'll make things look like they're there when they're not there. It'll make you think your TV got turned up. It'll do a million different things. And if you look up reviews for this one, most people say that this is not to be missed. And I agree. Super awesome game for GameCube. Here we got Star Fox Assault. Star Fox Assault is not really a Star Fox game like Star Fox 64, but it's nothing like Star Fox Adventures, the dinosaur game. This one's just pretty much on rails, space combat, shooting a lot of stuff. If you like some simple arcade action, this is really good. This isn't, it's not like a standard Star Fox game, so a lot of people kind of didn't like it because of that, but I really do like it. I think it looks great, plays really well. Absolutely a good time on your GameCube. And that brings me to Mario Kart. Mario Kart Double Dash. This game actually, in my opinion, gives Mario Kart 8, whether it's on the Wii U or on the Switch, this gives that game a run for its money. I mean, the graphics that are on this look really good. It's cool because you have two characters on each cart at all times, and you can swap them and switch them to have different power-ups because each guy holds onto their own stuff. You can play multiplayer, you can split screen it, you can do co-op. It's so fun. Absolutely don't miss Mario Kart Double Dash. If you enjoy Mario Kart style racing games, you can't beat it on the GameCube. Another kind of overlooked one here is Wario World. This is sort of a platformer, but kind of a puzzle platformer, and you're running around and you're Wario and you're trying to get as much money as you can. It's, I don't know. Let's see, he's got, it's just like I said before on a lot of these games. Very hard to describe, but Wario World looks great, plays great, and it's just another reason to play a GameCube. I just love seeing all these things that you can't get on other systems. Like this one, Kirby Air Ride. A lot of people might not like this one because it is made for kids to play as well, but it's a really fun thing. It's a racing game where basically you're Kirby and you're on your little star and you're racing through levels, jumping over things. There are also some mini games. There's sort of like a hub city that you can go into. Not the cheapest game in the world. Again, all of these GameCube exclusives, especially the ones made by Nintendo, are going to have their issues as far as price is concerned. But this is a really fun game, and I definitely recommend that one too. Same kind of deal with Wave Race Blue Storm. This was basically your Wave Race game that was on GameCube. They've had them on the N64 before that, and it's a good racer if you like to do jet ski racing. The waves look really nice. At the time, the water effects in this were like second to none. They looked so great. So I highly recommend Wave Race Blue Storm. But don't pay too much for it. It's a good game, but sometimes they want a lot for that thing. All right. I should have got to this earlier, but here is Odama. Odama is the one that I was talking about at the beginning that requires the microphone. It's a strategy war game, pinball game. Okay, on the back here it says, a unique combination of pinball and military war games. So what you do is the Odama is the big ball, right? That's the pinball. And you have your troops, and you can set them out, and they're walking, and then there's guys coming towards you. The microphone is used to command your troops. You're using the buttons to work the pinball side of it and try to shoot the Odama ball at the opponents and smash through their ranks. 'Cause it's a giant, huge ball, and it crushes all the people in its way. In the meantime, you're yelling into your controller, left, 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 right, 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 forward, back, forward, back. You're yelling all these different things. So you have to use, it's not the best speech recognition in the world. You have to use the actual words, and you have to say them the way that they're programmed to be heard. But what a unique thing. Only Nintendo, right, would come out with something crazy like Odama. where you're in feudal Japan and you're warring against other people, shooting pinballs at their guys, yelling into your microphone to command your troops. Super cool, but so weird, and I love it. That's why I love the GameCube. I got Pokemon Colosseum here. This one is more of your standard Pokemon game. The XD one had a little bit more story. This is more of just fighting game, but it does have some co-op stuff, and no, it doesn't have co-op, just single player. Yeah, I think there's a story in this as well. I haven't played a lot of the Pokemon stuff, but this one is also, if you're into Pokemon, you already know about that one. Mario Party, I have Mario Party 4. There's a bunch of different Mario Parties, but I kind of liked the mini games in this one, so when I saw this one out there, I grabbed it. These are going $50, $60 a piece now, too, so don't pay too much for Mario Parties, but this is a really good time, especially if you have a couple people or kids that you can sit with and play the thing. It's a good time. Got a few more left here. We got Custom Robo. Custom Robo I picked up in the last few months. This is a pretty fun game where it's a unique situation. There's a little story, and it's very anime, and you walk around and you're like this police guy, but when you get into battles with bad guys and stuff, you don't just fight them. It's almost like Pokemon. You throw your robot at them, and then they go into like this little virtual zone, and it's like a big square, so many squares by so many squares, and you're running around going behind cover. And the custom part of it is, as you beat other guys, you inherit their abilities, their guns, their weapon, like their not their weapons, but their armor and their weapons. Customize your Robo to go up against the next guys, progress the story and everything. But you can also play against other people locally. So I really like this one. Very unique, very different, very Nintendo. And then we've got this one here, Geist. The best part of Geist is the fact that at the beginning, basically, you're dead. And you are a ghost. Ghost, right? And you get to take possession of things. So most of the puzzles in this game, it's kind of a linear story driven, but a lot of the puzzles and solutions and things have to do with you possessing other things. So you might possess one of the enemies, but then you might also possess a rat, or you possess a dog, or you possess a bird. There's all kinds of crazy things in here that you get to do. But that's the real hook of Geist, is possessing other things. And they even went so far as to change your entire vision whenever you possess different things, because what they say about dogs not being able to see color and stuff like that. You possess a dog, all of a sudden your vision is kind of sort of tunnel vision a little bit, and it's black and white, and so you get to kind of pretend to see what it would be like to be a dog. So you got that going for you in Geist. I like that game a lot. Alright, so the last three games I have here are all basically in the same game, same series. Start off with Metroid Prime, one of the best Metroid games ever made, one of the best GameCube games ever made. This one's going to take you a while to get through it. Lots of exploration. Don't be afraid to do some backtracking in this game, to go back and find things, go forward. But this is what took Metroid out of 2D and right into 3D. And this was the greatest thing. I mean, when this first came out, everyone was so blown away. And to this day, it's still a really, really great game to play. And then also they had a sequel on GameCube, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Kind of more of the same, except now you got a dark world and a light world and things like that to deal with. Very, very cool Metroid games. And I know we just got the Metroid game, came out on the 3DS. Can't wait for Metroid Prime 4, which is set to be coming out on the Switch later on down the road. But since I was talking about those, another Wii game that I wanted to mention is the Metroid Prime Trilogy. If you can find this one someplace. Now, my version is not the Steelbook version. There is a Steelbook version, which is a lot more expensive, but this one's not super cheap anymore either, because this game has Metroid 1 and 2, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, as well as Metroid Prime 3. Metroid Prime 3 was a Wii game, so what they did was they took the mechanics from the third game, where you can aim with the pointer and everything, and then they basically added these games in there and gave them the updated controls and stuff. So definitely, if you don't want to just buy them on your GameCube and say you're playing GameCube on your Wii, if you can find this one, let me move my hand. If you can find this one for the Wii, you'll have all three of them. You can't beat it. Metroid, Nintendo, so many good games, so many good things to play. I tell you what, this is why the GameCube is my favorite retro system, because of all this unique stuff. And there's still a few things out there that I'll probably look for and pick up along the way. But even if I don't ever get another GameCube game, the group that I have here will keep me busy for a long time, and I really love it. Be very careful when you buy GameCube games, because they have this proprietary disc. It's so small, and you have to make sure there's no scratches. If there is the slightest little scratch or smudge, sometimes it just won't play. That's the one big downside to collecting for the GameCube, is that these discs, because they were so unique to Nintendo and they were something special that they just had to have, they're a little different than some of the other games and the other discs that you're used to, whether it's on the Xbox or the PlayStation or anything else. These discs require very careful handling. Let's just put it that way. So when you go to the flea market and stuff, be forewarned that sometimes you might get something that it just won't work. My example that I have was Custom Robo. I just showed you a minute ago. Custom Robo, I got it at a convention. The guy gave it to me for $5 because it had a big scratch on it. And I said, that's okay. If it doesn't play, at least I'll have a nice box, etc. So I took it home. I tried to clean that disc as best I could. It just would not play. I wound up buying another copy of Custom Robo someplace else that did not have a box. So I have a box for it. So I have a complete copy of it, but I kind of had to piece it together because the first one I got, the disc didn't work, and then I went out and found a disc. So anyway, I think that's probably enough for now. This is one of my longest videos, but just from watching a lot of what Dean does, I wanted to also just put out there all my GameCube stuff. Happy birthday to the GameCube, and for those of you who are collecting, hopefully this will give you some info to get you started. And yeah, man, GameCube, gotta love that stuff. So good. And so till next time, remember, you never outgrow video games. My name's Chad the Gaming Dad, and this is Dad's Games. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. So long, everybody. Thanks again for watching. If you liked that video, please press like and subscribe. I love hearing from you guys, so leave your comments and any suggestions down below. Remember, there's tons of other gamers out there just like you and me, and they also know that you never outgrow video games. Feel free to share these videos all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever you use. This channel is for all of us. Let's make sure they know that they are not alone. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.